Good morning. Welcome to Sunday Morning Yoga Church. So I've been thinking, here it is, we're a month and a half into the first of, almost a month and a half into the first of the year, 2025. And things are nuts outside in the world and perhaps even inside with you. They kind of are inside with me in my head and sometimes in my heart. And so I've been thinking this week it'd be a good time to get back into the Yoga Sutras and kind of start diving back in a light way into the philosophy of yoga and base that on the Yoga Sutras and start out with the yamas and the niyamas because the 8 limbs is always a good spot to pick this up. So the Yoga Sutras, right, they outline this they outline like a plan of living, right? Which is based on action to knowledge and then ultimately liberation. That's the goal, if you want to say there's a goal. And I got to thinking when I read that, I got to thinking, yeah, I know for myself, I came to yoga because of pain. And so I needed action. I needed that movement on the mat. And the more that I stuck around with good teachers, the more I was like, this is interesting. There's more going on here than just doing forward bends on the mat. Tell me more. And then I started getting into the knowledge, the wisdom of yoga. And then ultimately, I mean, I'm not liberated yet by any stretch of the imagination, but I see intellectually, I see how that is the final, like what we're reaching for with yoga. So I'm gonna read just a whoops, I think I just lost my page. Well, anyway, so we're gonna kick it off, maybe start like next week with the first of the yamas, but the yamas and the niyamas, I just want to say those are the first 2 limbs of yoga. And I think it's, even though we call them the limbs, I think it might be, it's better in my brain to think of them as spokes on a wheel than limbs, than like a ladder, even though they do kind of build on one another. I feel like they can all 8 of these limbs, all 8 of these spokes, when they're implemented constantly, I think they work synergistically. So the yamas and the niyamas bring us into right relationship with ourselves, with others, and with the spirit of the universe. I think that's really critical right now. The asana refine our bodies, deepen our awareness of the senses, and enhance our powers of concentration. And then in pranayama, we develop control over the flow of breath. So the first 4 practices refresh the body, refine the mind, and bring peace to the heart, allowing us, this is key, allowing us to meet the pressures of life with equanimity. And so that little, I just read that from Meditations from the Mat, which is a really terrific book by Rolf Gates. When I first began practicing yoga, this was recommended to me, and I think you can see it's a very well-loved and very well-worn book. Haven't picked it up in a while, and I thought, you know what? Rolf's always got something good to say about the 8 limbs of yoga. So there we go. Having said all that, this is going to be a super slow, say this 10 times real fast, a super slow Sunday. I want you to have one block. If you have access to one, we're going to use that. If not, no big deal. But if you have access to a block, please grab it and then come down onto your belly. We're going to start in the prone position. So while you're getting set up, I mean, this, what we do here in the West and what I do most, on Sunday mornings, obviously this is an asana class, a class that is focused on the physical postures. As we go through the postures this morning, go through this super slow Sunday flow, bring to mind how this action refreshes your body, refines your mind. Maybe enhances your relationship, not only with yourself, but then with the world around you. It has to start at home, right? So on the belly, stack your hands one on top of the other, place your forehead on the back of your hands and do a body scan. Starting at the toes, which are pointed back, so the tops of your feet are on the floor. Scanning up from the soles of your feet over your heels, up the backs of your legs. Notice if you're gripping, if there's any tension, tightness. Release your hamstrings. In fact, you can wiggle, jiggle your butt a little bit. See that you're not gripping, tightening, constricting. around the buttocks, around the pelvis, and then around the low back. And as you shaky, the legs, the hips, the butt, the low back might give a little bit. And notice your elbows, your shoulders, your forearms and hands. Bring your awareness to your neck. Notice if your ears are equal distance from the floor or if your head is naturally gravitating to one side. And then become aware of your breath. Not breathing in any specific fashion, just noticing what happens when you breathe in. Physically, do the ribs move? Does the belly press into the floor? Notice what happens when you breathe out. I want you to tuck just your right toes under. Fire up your right leg so your knee will lift up off the floor. Push your right heel back. And it might be possible to inch your right toes forward, just another millimeter. Zero in on what you feel in the sole of your right foot, at the bend of your toes, the medial arch, the lateral arch, your Achilles tendon. And relax your right leg, point your toes back. Tuck your left toes under, same thing. Tuck toes, fire up the leg, keep the hip down, but the knee rises. Inch the toes forward, push the heel back. And does this leg present any differently? Maybe through the toes, the arches, the sole, the stretch. And relax your left leg. Now tuck both toes under. Equally, drawing heels back, firing up. The legs, lifting the knees, inching the toes forward if possible. Becoming impossibly long from your heels all the way up your spine, through your cervical spine to the crown of your head. And then soften and relax your feet onto the floor. Place the other hand on top. I want you to bend your right knee, flexing your right foot. So the sole of your right foot is staring to the ceiling. And then we're going to do 2 leg lifts. You're just going to lift your thigh up off the floor and then let it come back down. Keep the hip down, keep the pelvis down. Just 10 times. You're on your own for the count. Firing up your hamstrings, glutes will engage. Now, when you get to 10, I'm going to have you keep your thigh lifted, but stretch your leg back. So thigh, knee, and foot off the floor. Stretch back, reach back. And reach back through the ball of your right foot. Good. Lengthen, lengthen, reach, reach, reach. And then settle your right leg down onto the mat. Beautiful. Second side, bending left knee, just 90 degrees. So your left shin bones are perpendicular to the floor. Foot is flexed. And here you go, 10 times you're on your own, lifting the knee and the thigh, knee up, leg up, just a little pulse. Doesn't have to be real high. The emphasis is on engaging. The emphasis is on engaging the hamstrings, the glutes, and keeping the left hip down. same drill. Whenever you finish up your 10th, you'll keep the knee and the thigh lifted, but extend your leg, reaching back through the ball of your foot. Reach back, go back, as though I've got you by the ankle and I'm giving you a gentle tug. Traction, traction. Leg comes down, relax. Once more, tuck your toes, fire up your legs. Draw the toes forward. Push the heels back. And relax your feet onto the floor. And then we're going to come into a variation of Sphinx pose. I want you to slide your forearms, slide your hands to your elbows and come up onto your forearms. Your forearms are in front of your chest on the mat. Press down into the forearms and the elbows, lift yourself up. Good. And if you want less extension in your spine, take your arms forward a bit. So you're a little lower, you're a little closer to the ground. If you want a little more extension to your spine, draw your forearms back towards your chest a little more. This is up to you. Good. Move your low jaw back and forth. Blah, 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 blah. Good. Now, while you're here in this version of Sphinx pose, if it feels good to you, tuck your toes, fire up your legs, and just notice what changes. This is how we develop a relationship with our body, right? I don't know about you, but when I came to yoga, my head was barely attached to the rest of my person. Change the cross of your forearms. Good. And then turn your head to the right. Just go gentle. Don't push or force through any stress or strain or pain. And turn your head to the left. And come back to center. Good. Separate your forearms and let yourself come down onto the floor. Just for a breath or two. Now I'd like you to come up onto your forearms once again, just forearms out front like a classic Sphinx. Yeah. And then I'm going to have you take your right forearm and walk it across the mat to the left. Take your left forearm forward. So you're going to end up in what the yin people call whale's tail. Left forearm is forward. Right arm goes across the mat to the left. Now my left arm is lifted, but my left hand is on the floor. And my right arm is extending to the left, and my right shoulder down. Good. And you can put your forehead to the floor. If the floor feels far away, you might lift out of this enough to bring the block underneath your head. It's a nice stretch for the deltoids, particularly the medial and posterior deltoid. Good. Bend your left elbow, slide your left hand onto the mat, push into the floor so you can withdraw your right arm, returning to Sphinx pose. Good. Now we're ready for the other side. Walk your right hand forward, lengthening your right arm forward. Thread your left arm onto the floor, extending to the right. And then come on down, forehead to the mat or to a block. Wiggle your legs a couple times, tush your hips. Notice if you're holding on to any tension or stress. And what does this side tell you in relationship to the other side? walk your right hand onto the mat, pressing into the mat to withdraw your left arm. Return to Sphinx pose. Forearms out front. Good. Let yourself roll down to the floor. Very nice. Place your hands underneath your shoulders and engage the belly. And from there, push yourself up onto all fours. Go easy on this transition. Good. And from all fours, when you take your next breath in, find the cow, cat-cow. Taking the tailbone up and then arching the low, the middle, then the upper back. On the exhale, round. Pull the tailbone down and begin to round your spine. The tailbone initiates the movement. Let's do that again. Take your time, really pausing, maybe at the top of the breath, the top of the cow pose. Pause for a moment. Feel that fine spinal extension, that fine spine extension, and then exhale, round. And then at the bottom of the breath, maybe you pause for a beat or two, exploring both sides of the spine, the right and the left side. And then one more time, arching on the in-breath. Looking forward, and this time you're going to rock into child's pose. When you exhale, take time, no rush. This is super slow Sunday. So on an inhalation, when that happens for you, pull yourself up again, finding the cow, arching, and then dropping hips to heels into child's pose, exhaling. And we're going to do that one more time, just those two shapes. Follow your breath. Your breath starts the movement, moving up into the cow. Good. And then exhaling, dropping into the child's pose, Balasana. Wonderful. I want you to arc your spine over to the left, taking your right hand towards the top left corner of your mat, taking your left fingertips maybe 4 inches, 6 inches beyond your left knee, and giving yourself a little lean into your right ribs. As you sweep your right arm, arc your right arm up and out to the left. Bring yourself back to the midline of your sticky mat. And then arc your spine over to the right, sweeping left arm out to the left and up, reaching left hand towards the top right corner of your mat. A little pressure into your right fingertips so you push yourself gently into that left rib basket. Feeling the tissue, the muscle fibers, waking up, opening up, stretching, yawning, giving. Exploring pliability. Then return to the center of your mat. And just take a full breath in and out. And on the exhale, settle deeply into the pose. And bring yourself up onto your hands and your knees. This is where your block is going to come into the picture. You're going to sit on your block in Virasana. So I'm going to take my block to the second height behind me and sitting so that my two sit bones, actually I'm going to take it to the low height. So the two sit bones are perched on the block. Knees bent, deep flexion in the knees, big extension in the ankles. If the knees and the ankles do not like this, you know what to do. Snap out of it, sit in a cross-legged position. You can still do the same thing. The focus is on the upper back. Left hand comes to the floor, just to the left of your knee and maybe about 2-3 inches in front. Right hand comes to the back of your head with the right elbow bent. Sit bones stay planted on the block or the floor. Inhale, turn to the right, right elbow lifts up. Exhale, bring the right elbow towards the left forearm. 3 more times, breathing in, keep those sit bones rooted as you open up to the right. And breathing out, coil down. Now, if you need to change, move your left hand wherever you need to so it feels appropriate in your body. Like I said, the emphasis is on the upper back, finding the spinal mobility through the thoracic spine. You're going to do this 4 times total. On the 4th one, whenever you get there, I want you to stay in this coiled shape for a couple of breaths. Whether your right elbow touches the left arm or not, irrelevant, but I want you to round through your upper back. And imagine that your right back ribs, you're really wrapping those bad boys around towards your left arm. So rather than focusing on reaching the elbow, start the move in your ribs. Wrap those right ribs around. Ooh, 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 ooh. And then on an in-breath, open to the right. Take your time. Ooh. And then stretch your right arm up towards the ceiling. Press into the floor with your left hand. Reach through your right arm. Sit bones are still grounded. Now sweep your right arm over your right ear. Bring your right hand to the floor. There we go. That's the transition. Here we do the second side. Left hand behind your head. You start by opening the left elbow out to the left, turning your sternum to the left. And exhale, coil down. Left elbow comes in the direction of the right arm. Maybe it gets there, maybe it doesn't. That's irrelevant. But what you feel in your spine and your ribs, that's the important part. How's the mobility on this side in relationship to the other side? Developing relationship with your body, with all of its quirks. It's all of its sticky parts, all of its tight spots, all of its resistance. You know what to do on the 4th round. You're going to stay in that coiled shape. But I know it's tempting just to like really draw the elbow, yank the elbow towards your right arm. But I'm going to invite you to take your awareness closer to the core of your body rather than the periphery, and wrap those left ribs around towards your right arm. Start the move from the ribs. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And then when you inhale next, open yourself to the left, sternum to the left. And then left arm can go up. Wear your sit bones and stay rooted, grounded, anchored. You're going to reach the left arm over your left ear towards the top of your mat and bring your left hand to the floor. Very nicely done. Give yourself a cat-cow. Breathing in, looking forward. Rounding, doming your spine as you exhale. Cow again, please. Arching, spinal extension. And this time, child's pose as you exhale. Good. Pull yourself into staff as you breathe in. First, pet the dog. And then downward dog as you breathe out. Let's do that flow one more time. Coming to the knees. Spinal extension as you inhale. Good. Balasana, pose of a child as you exhale. Very nice. Staff pose as you inhale. And downward dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana as you exhale. Good. Let's stay in downward dog for several breaths. Allow your left knee to bend slightly and sink your right heel in the direction of the floor. Straightening your right leg, straightening your left leg, bend your right knee and sink your left heel towards the floor. Good. Soften both knees, lift your pelvis high, sit bones go skyward. And keeping that length in your spine, begin to sink your heels to the mat. Good. Walk your feet forward to your hands. And over the course of a slow breath in, roll yourself up. Unpacking your joints, lengthening through your spine. Excellent. Here we go. Very gentle flow. Inhale, sweep your arms forward and up. Circle your arms out to the sides as you exhale. And take your arms slightly back so you get that good stretch through the collarbones and the pecs. Now we'll go into chair pose. Now don't go too deep, not a full squat, just a little bend in the knees, little sink into the hips. Good. And then fingertips come to the floor on the exhale, straightening the legs to the degree that your hamstrings approve. I want you to come halfway up. On your next breath in, you can inch your fingertips forward, lengthen your spine. And then bow down, take your right foot back and your right knee down. Good. Then once your knee is down, I want you to lift yourself up, take your arms forward, palms facing one another. You're going to inhale, sweep your right arm to the right. So it's an open twist. And exhale, right arm forward. Now take your left arm to the left, breathing in, closed twist, twisting towards the bent knee. And exhale, arm forward. One more time on each side. Right arm goes back on the in-breath. Notice the reach that you get on this side, coming forward as you exhale. Left arm goes back. Good, coming forward, exhale. I'm going to have you place your hands to the back of your head, bending your elbows. You can clasp your fingers together and then push your head into your hands. Widen your elbows and look up. Beautiful. Fingertips to the floor, please. Pick your back knee up and pause. Step back to downward dog. And step your right foot forward and settle your left knee down. Same deal, just now other leg is forward, left knee is down. Arms come forward. And we start with the open twist, taking the left arm back on the in-breath. And closing on the out-breath. Now the right arm, breathing in. And breathing out. Good, one more time on each side. Engage the glutes. I want you to keep your belly firm. So this twist is really happening through the ribs, more so than the pelvis. Ribs and upper back, shoulders getting lots of attention in a very gentle, easy way. After that last one, hands come behind your head. You can clasp the fingers together and then press your head into your hands, widen your elbows, take your head back, look up. Excellent. Look forward, bring your fingertips to the floor, lift your back, knee up, and pause. And now remember at the beginning of the practice, we tucked the toes under when we were in the prone position, and notice if anything's changed, if you have any more length, sensation of length in the back of the Achilles tendon, the calves, the hams, and then I'm going to have you step forward. Come halfway up when you take your next breath in. From there, I want you to bring your hands to your waist, draw your elbows towards one another, and then with a strong back, come all the way up to standing, and then bring your arms down to your sides. Good. Arms come forward and up. Use an inhalation to sweep up. Exhale, circle your arms down to your sides and slightly back. Small chair pose. Arms come forward, hips go down. Good, and then fingertips to the floor as you straighten your legs. And come halfway up, inhaling. And you're going to step your left foot back, exhale. Spin the left heel down. You're going to pull yourself up to warrior two. Good. And then I'm going to have you straighten your right leg and spin your right toes in. Okay. Bring your hands to your waist. We're going to end up in a wide-legged stance. Here's where your block is going to come in handy. Grab your block, square your feet so they're equal distance to the back of your sticky mat. Once you've got your block, I'm going to have you bring your block behind you with your arms straight, more shoulder love. Take a breath in as you lift your sternum away from your pelvis, and as you exhale, just come halfway down. And let's pause there for a moment. Let the inner thigh, the adductors, kind of get acclimated to what we just asked them to do. Big stretch through the inner thighs. The belly is firm. I want the back to be long and strong. Now take the block in your right hand. Take both arms out like a T, and then bring the block beyond your head. Grab the block with your left hand. We're just making block circles. And then the left hand brings the block to your tush. Take it in your right hand again. We're going out to the right. And I want you to do this slow. So the movement in your shoulder girdle really articulates the internal and external rotation. One more time to the right, please. Switching hands beyond your head. And then bring the block behind you. Good. Pause. Take a full breath in, holding onto the block at your bum. When you exhale, you're going to pitch forward. Take the crown of your head towards the floor. Lift the block up, lifting your arms up away from your back. And take the block towards the ceiling. Beautiful. Place the block to the floor. Hands to the floor. And then walk your hands forward until you stretch your arms out. Oh, it's almost like the upper body is in a downward facing dog. And the feet and legs are in this wide-legged forward bend. You're going to want to keep the hips moving back, femur bones moving back. Great. Walk your hands to your mat. Give yourself a quarter turn to the right, turning your right toes forward. Come onto the ball of your back foot. And then step back to downward dog. Good. Take it easy on the transition. Woo! Lots happening in the hips. Excellent. Good. We're going to break it up for just a moment. Come to your knees, please. and we're going to go into thread the needle. Right arm first, thread through onto the floor, come all the way down to your right shoulder, right side of your head. And then for this version for today, I'm going to invite you to walk your left hand forward, lengthening your left arm, taking your left hand fingertips towards the top of the mat. Now, what I like to do, and this is just my preference, you can try it and see how it feels in your body. I like to grab a hold of the edge of my mat with my left hand and then kind of curl the back of my left hand to the floor. That gives my left arm a pretty strong external rotation while it's in flexion. The arm is lengthened. Good. Maybe that right arm can inch through another 1/4 of an inch. All right. Left hand, bring it onto your mat about chin level. Push into the floor so you can unthread your right arm. And give yourself a moment once you get onto hands and knees, just like take a breath. And if you want to move your spine around, go for it. And then when you're ready, second side, your left arm is going to thread onto the floor between your right hand and right knee, inching the right fingertips forward until the right arm is straight as it can be. Maybe you take the outer edge of your sticky mat and kind of give it a little twist. What I like about that is then I can activate my arm by pulling the mat, like I'm trying to pull the mat out from underneath me, pull the mat forward, and at the same time, pull the right hip back. Exploring relationship to our bodies, to ourselves. It starts at home. And then we can explore relationship to others, relationship to the planet, global relationships. Good. Walk your left hand onto the mat about chin level. Lift yourself up onto your hands and your knees. Good. Give yourself a cow pose on an inhalation. Give yourself a child's pose on an exhalation. Give yourself a staff pose on the next breath in. Bringing strength to those mobile shoulders, and then downward dog on the exhale. Okie dokie. Now the left foot steps forward to the left hand, and the right heel comes down. Pull yourself up to warrior two. Just to get yourself upright, find your block, bring your block within arm's reach. And then get yourself established in warrior two. Once you're there, then hands come to the waist, straighten the left leg. Turn the left toes in. We're lining ourselves up for this wide-legged forward bend again. You're going to grab your block, bring your block behind you. Block to butt, block butt asana. Take a breath in. And then bring yourself halfway down, straight, strong back, firm belly. And here we go 3 times to the left. Take the block in your left hand. Go really slow, please. Arms stretch out like a T. Then go forward, out beyond your head. Block exchange. Take the block in your right hand and bring the block behind your back. And you'll do 2 more times going to the left, articulating this rotation in the shoulder girdle. That looks great, everybody. I love it. Good. Arms straight as much as you can, as much as they'll allow. And after your third one, you're going to bring the block to your butt again, to your sacrum. Take a breath in. Let yourself dive forward, finding that wide-legged forward bend, and then you can lift the block away from your bum. If you're not working with the block, you might just hook your thumbs or clasp your fingers together and take your arms up and over. Very nice. Let's be a little dynamic with the arms. Push up through your hands and arms. Beautiful, Maxine. So the shoulders move away from the ears. Very nice. Okay, everybody. Now you can bring your hands to the floor. Set your block onto the floor. All right, so here's the fun part. You're going to take the block underneath your left hand and slide the block forward so your left arm comes into that downward dog shape. With your right hand, sweep across your legs until your right hand can grab a hold of the outside of your left shin, calf, or ankle. So it's just like thread the needle, but we're on our feet. Whatever your right hand can grab a hold of, get a good grip. Left arm is straight, and then begin to bend your right elbow. See if you can find any more rotation through your ribs and your upper back. Look to the left. Look under your left armpit. Take your hips a little to the right. Outstanding, everyone. Good. Release your right hand. Woo! Bring your hands onto the sticky mat. Good. Let your head and neck be loose. Okay, and here we go for the other side. Now first, press into your feet. Pull your femur bones back. Sit bones back, and then stretch your right arm forward. Hand to the block. Right arm goes forward, and then once the right arm is straight, take the left arm across the legs. Take a hold of the outside of maybe your right thigh, the outside of your knee, your calf, your shin, your ankle. Grab a hold, maybe your pant leg, and then get a good grip. Bend that left elbow a little. See if you can look under your right armpit. Twisty, twisty, happy, happy through the thoracic spine. How's your jaw doing? Good. How's this side compared to the other side? More resistant? More mobile? Take your hips a little to the left. Nice, good, Kathy. And push those femur bones back. Yes, good. Left hand, let go. Both hands to the floor. Come onto your fingertips and lift yourself up halfway, whatever that looks like for you. Inhale, and then bow down, exhale. Very nice. Give yourself a quarter turn to the left, turning your left toes to the top of the sticky mat, coming into a lunge onto the ball of your back foot. Boom chakalaka. Step back to downward facing dog. Well done. Pull yourself forward to staff. Knees or no knees, come all the way down to the floor. So we're going to do a spinal extension just for about 5 breaths. Now, door number 1 is just to put your hands underneath your forehead, staying in this prone position. That's a spinal extension. Door number 2 would be a Sphinx pose. Any arm placement that feels great for you, go for it. Door number 3, come on up into a cobra, maybe upward dog. Or maybe seal, right? The yin folk call it seal. You start out in Sphinx and then you press the hands into the floor to straighten the arms. You find that, that deep spinal curve. Good. Separate your bottom teeth from your top teeth. That was a great practice, everybody. It was slow and low, but not without its effort. Take one more breath. Lift your ears up away from your shoulders. Yes, good. And lower down. Good. Take your arms wherever they can be comfortable. Turn your head to the right. Turn your head to the left. Place your forehead to the floor. Tuck your toes. Lift your knees. Reach back through your heels. Good. So you're aligning your spine all the way up to your neck, all the way up to the cervical spine. Relax your feet, slide your hands underneath your shoulders, and as you're ready, press yourself up onto your hands and your knees. Take your feet out to one side, have a seat on your bum. Good. Bring yourself into Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose or cobbler's pose. Soles of the feet come together. Allow the knees to drop apart. Holding on to either the shins, the ankles, or maybe taking a hold of the outer edges of your feet. Lift your chest, lengthening your spine, straightening your arms. Good. Maybe take your head back a little, look up. Looking forward. Release your hands. With one hand to the outside of each knee, draw the knees together so there's no strain on the inner thighs. Just use your arms to close the book. Come onto your back. And we're going to move into a reclining pigeon or eye of the needle. So when you get onto your back, bring your right ankle to the top of your left knee and pull your left knee towards your chest. Good. Kathy, take your right ankle to the top of your left knee. There you go. Now bring the left knee in. Yeah, that's it. Exactly. Yeah, good. Awesome. Maybe everybody could rock their pelvis a little to the left. I want you to line your left knee up with your left shoulder. Good. Now you can keep your right foot where it is at your knee, or try this with your right hand at your right ankle. Draw your right heel downward until maybe it comes to the crease of your left thigh, where your thigh and your pelvis meet. Just drawing down. So it'd be like a half lotus, right? And so when you get the knee in flexion to the degree that is right for you, then take your left leg straight up to the ceiling. And you can still keep your hands behind your left thigh, or maybe walk your hands up behind your left calf. You might even bring your left hand to the outside of your left foot. Right hand can stay just resting on the right ankle or shin. Good. Now, if you reach up with your left hand for the foot, or maybe the left big toe, drop your left shoulder down to the mat. Good. Arm can lift up. But opposite opposing action. Left arm reaching up, but left shoulder anchoring down. Excellent. So then if you've got your foot, let go. Bend your left knee. Bring your left foot to the floor. Draw your right knee to your chest. Just kind of unwind your right femur bone. Good. Set your right foot to the floor and take your left ankle to the top of your right knee. So we start out in the reclining pigeon, pull the right knee towards your chest. Good. Hands can go behind the thigh or maybe over the right shin. Good. Now at this point, we'll come into the half lotus. So you'll draw your left heel down towards the crease where your right thigh meets the pelvis. Don't push it, don't force it, but just draw it down if it'll go. And then holding on gently to your left ankle or shin, take your right leg up, reach up. Maybe both hands take the right calf, coming into a bit of a forward bend, or maybe just the right hand takes the outside of the right foot or the big toe. You draw that right leg towards your head, being ever mindful of what you feel in your left knee, ankle. You might feel some pressure of the left heel as it digs into your ascending colon. Notice if your jaw jumped on board with this, trying to help out in some fashion. Tell your jaw to just like back off, relax, separate bottom teeth from top teeth. Good. If you got a hold of your foot, release. Bring your hands to the back of your right thigh. Let your right knee bend. Good. Set your right foot to the floor. Bring your left knee to your chest. And bring left foot to the floor. Take feet wide. We're going to do just a couple rounds of windshield wipers. Good. And then you'll bring your feet to the floor. Side by side, stretch your legs down onto the mat. So we got a little bit of a late start today. I'm going to go about 2 minutes extra. And if you need to check out, though, please do. We're about 4 minutes from the official end of practice. But I'll record. I'd like to record for a full hour. So if you need to check out, please do. Otherwise, stretch your legs down onto the floor. And for just a couple of minutes, we're going to harness the winds of prana. I'd like you to exhale whatever you have in the lungs. And then following my count, inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Now pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 more times. 1, 2. This is the in breath. 3, 4. Pause. Exhale. Pause. Last one. Breathing in. Pause. Breathing out. Pause. Allow your breath to find its own rhythm, establish itself in its own rate, pattern, no longer being influenced by your mind. At this point, you can take a deeper breath in, or you can remain on your mat. You can move your fingers and toes, or you can remain in the joy of stillness. The Yoga Sutras outline a plan for living that flows from action to knowledge to ultimately liberation, and the 8 limbs are like a map. But in yoga, as in life, it's the journey that's more important than the destination. BKS Iyengar says, burning zeal in practice, self-study, and study of scriptures, and a surrender to God are the acts of yoga. That's the action. Burning zeal in practice, self-study and study of scripture, and surrender to God. That's the action. Those are the acts of yoga. Bring yourself up to sitting. We're going to explore all that in the coming weeks. Once you get upright, I want you to bring your two palms together and take the base of your thumbs to your forehead, aligning breath with mind for a balanced mind. Bring your fingertips to your lips, aligning breath with mind and words with mind for balanced words, balanced breath, balanced speech. And finally, place your hands at your heart, aligning body and spirit with breath and words and mind. Balanced body, balanced spirit. Thank you so much. That was fun for me this morning. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you next